Of violence at Cape Town courts is expected to dominate talks between Deputy Justice Minister Henri Snell and officials at the Athlone Magistrates Court today. Snell's visit follows a deadly gang-related shooting last week where a man was killed outside the court. The attacker fled the scene, leaving a firearm and other belongings behind. A man and a woman were also shot and wounded in separate incidents near the court. Ntutuzelo Nwane has more.
The Athlone Magistrates Court shooting is the latest in a slew of deadly attacks in and around courtrooms in Cape Town. Last month, a man was shot dead in front of the Mitchells Plain Magistrates Court and another man was wounded. In April, a 50-year-old man was killed in the corridors of the Wynberg Magistrates Court. Broken metal detectors have been identified as one of the reasons for the frequent security breaches in local courts. Deputy Justice Minister Henri Snell is being briefed by Athlone Magistrates Court officials in a closed meeting on the circumstances surrounding last week's deadly shooting at the entrance of the courthouse. Ntutuzelo Nwane, Eyewitness News in Athlone.
And in Turkey, 2 police officers have been killed and another wounded in an armed attack on a police station in the city of Izmir. It's understood a masked 16-year-old attacked the police station this morning, injuring 6 other people. The teenager was arrested and the motive for the attack is still under investigation. The teen carried out the attack allegedly in retaliation for mistreatment at the same police station just days after being released from custody. Gold is trading at $3,612.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.58 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.50 a barrel.
Well, in the Devland area heading towards El Dorado Park, we still have those roadworks on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Also heading in and out of the Joburg CBD. There's slow-moving traffic. This is on the Main Reef Road between the M2 and the Crown Interchange. Also, if you're traveling through Bedfordview, there's slow-moving traffic. N3 southbound. This is heading towards Germiston between Marlborough Drive and Modderfontein Road.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, one of the 5 Gauteng crime prevention wardens injured during a shooting in Davidton and Ekurhuleni yesterday remains in a critical condition.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 7:02 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. Happy Monday to you and you. I hope you had a beautiful weekend and got to truly just rest and regroup and rejuvenate and enjoy yourself. Some of us are still trying to recover from these weird season change. What change of season allergies and flus? I hope we recover beautifully because, having a sick child at home is a serious mess. Coming up on the show today, I want to find out something very simple and I'll tell you where this came from. If you were attending a concert, a festival, going out for dinner with your friends, like something social, but then you got robbed, like would you still continue to party? And I'll tell you why I ask this. Would you still continue to party? And you have to tell me what gen you are, because I think the decision to continue to party is not the same. Then we join Movies and What to Stream with Adelaide Moyeng joining us for that. She is founder of Movies and Stuff. Make sure you follow her and send through all of your movie and film, documentary, old or new recommendations right here. The travel feature, we're going to be talking to Igor Mutilska, travel journalist and founder of eagerjourneys.com, about maximizing your travel budget through smart bookings, all-inclusive perks, and of course shoulder season savings as well. And then parenting and parents feature in the second hour of the show. This is a big one, reimagining grandparenthood. So how do we now look at the role of grandparents considering distance, immigration, virtual bonding, but also the fact that fathers are more involved in the household and a part of the process versus what it used to be before. So I want to hear from all of you as parents and grandparents. We'll be joined by Leta Musima, clinical psychologist, for that conversation. Then we wrap up with the naked scientist. Dr. Chris Smith will come through for all of your science-related questions. So get in touch with us. Give us a call, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I stumbled upon the most interesting video, but the video was of these three young ladies. They were attending Scorpion Kings Live. If you don't know what Scorpion Kings Live was, it was a massive concert that took place at Loftus. And DJ Maphorisa and Kabzada Small basically had a whole bunch of artists. They're referred to as Scorpion Kings when they're together. Now, this video is of these three ladies at Groove. They are there having a good time in the crowd. But the caption is like, when you've just been robbed, but you're still trying to have a good time. So you can see the one person's been robbed and the others are not robbed. And the first thing that came to mind when I saw this video is, why would you continue to groove after you've been robbed? Like, would you not just call it quits? But the people in the video look quite young. They look like Gen Zs. So I have to ask, if you get robbed while you're out having a good time, maybe it's your handbag, maybe it's your phone, whatever it is, are you saying to yourself, well, we're here now, let's groove, we'll deal with the stolen phone later or the stolen wallet later? Or are you those people who are like, nope, the fun is finished? And not just the fun is finished for some, it's finished for all of us. We are all going. If there were 10 of us that came and my phone got stolen, all of us must go home and be miserable. I'm sorry. We're all going to the police station. We are all going home. Or am I wrong? Let me know your thoughts and what you think should be done in that situation. And maybe share with us what your experience was like. If you've gone to a concert and been robbed at the time, is it something, or you were out at the club, because we know people get robbed all the time? Is that chive for you? Is that the end of the party? I mean, I remember being in the mall getting robbed. And I don't even think we took the groceries. Like, that's how touched I was. The trolley was full. And then when you are searching your pockets, the wallet was gone. I got pickpocketed at the mall. I've learned my mistake. You have to be super vigilant in grocery stores. And it was chai. All the things that I had planned to do that day no longer mattered. I needed to go and just sit with this trauma of the fact that someone was in my bag. Fortunately, the store I got robbed in allowed me to go and look at the CCTV footage. And that just makes it even worse. You know, now you're seeing them, you're like, I could have beat these people up. I could have, you see them, you're like, I could have taken them on. Why are they not coming to me in person so I can fight them, right? You know, that energy. Then you're like, you're still hoping. And funny enough, my cards got taken to the banks. They threw my cards somewhere, but by then I had cancelled everything. And they took them to one of the banks who got my contact details and said, we got your cards. So can you imagine if that was happening daytime at a mall? Now you're at a concert. So if I'm to imagine myself at a concert getting robbed, I can't imagine the artist I would stay for. Abel, do you have a single artist? Or is it just because we are millennials, like we are emotional? So I want to hear from you if you've ever been robbed while you were out drinking with friends, anything. What was that the time that the night is up for you? And keep in mind, us millennials do come from an era where we were grooving without cell phones like we do now. Our cell phones were for BBM, SMS, and calling. It was not like now where your cell phone is your computer in your hand. And not to say it was less devastating. I mean, there was a time I was rocking Alcatel. Guys, that phone was life. It was, the Alcatel era. Like, we were holding on to those things, especially because you knew your parents were not going to buy you a new phone. Yeah? So for me, the party's over for everybody. If I get robbed at a concert, that poor lady, if anybody knows who I'm referring to, she needs a hug that her friends made her continue party after she has been robbed. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Mzansi, the wait is finally over. The great South African sale is here. Explore more for less with up to 50% off travel deals. Surf the waves, hike the hills, enjoy Gasi, and explore the wild. Book from 8 to 14 September 2025. Visit shortleft.co.za to book now and travel later. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it. Because nothing's more fun than a short left. Hashtag TravelWise Mzansi. T's and C's apply.
They've stood tall, served hard, and dreamed big. Now it's time to honor the best among them. It's Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Tune in on Tuesday, the 9th of September from 6 a.m. That is tomorrow, when we'll reveal the winners and celebrate the excellence that makes Gauteng feel like home. Because every time a business wins, the whole community shines. Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
Meet Uminati Nyaba, a powerhouse storyteller and actor graduate who earned her Bachelor of Arts in Motion Picture cum laude. From a young age, Uminati knew that storytelling was her calling, but financial hurdles nearly dimmed her dream. That all changed when she received the Hollywood Foundation's Future is Bright bursary. It lifted a huge weight off her shoulders and gave her the freedom to focus fully on her craft. She began making bold moves and creating incredible work, including her award-winning short film, which was selected for international screenings. Thanks to the Hollywood Foundation, Uminati is ready to tell the stories the world needs to hear. Follow the Hollywood Foundation social pages for more stories of stars on the rise. Sizofunda sonke.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Persistent speculation that there may be a move to remove South Africa from the SWIFT banking system. Harry Scherzer is the CEO of Future Forex.
It would be a really tricky situation. We've seen what's happened in Russia, Iran, and others that have been sanctioned from the SWIFT system. And yeah, it's something that really wouldn't be good for our GDP. It wouldn't be good for our economic growth. And luckily, it's seeming unlikely to actually happen.
The Money Show
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, equipping you with efficient and secure cash management solutions for your business. Your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
18 minutes after 1 o'clock, I'd love to hear from all of you what your experiences have been getting robbed or mugged while you are out. Like, you have plans, you still have things to do after the fact. Is the party over or do you continue? And what are the circumstances that for you, the party must continue because I've paid for this ticket, I'm not going home, I will figure it out as I go along? And under what circumstances are you like, absolutely not, Relebogile, me, I'm going home. The party's over. Especially if it was my phone, because that's how I was going to tap to pay. Like, the fun is over. 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. One message on the WhatsApp line says, I think it is ages relevant. When I was 19, I'm 65 now. I was in a car accident with a friend. We left the driver and hiked to the party. Afterwards, we laughed about our insensitivity, but yes, the party went on. What? What do you mean? This is the wildest thing I've ever heard. From a car accident to the party. Yo, I thought I've heard it all. I've not heard it all. 702 listeners. From a car accident, you left the driver to continue the party. Yo, here are some of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
In 2025, we are now living in a world that is called a jungle. Everyone for himself, survival of the fittest. And this begins with the government, the politicians. Check what's happening now overseas. Look at the politicians. Everyone for his own or her own.
Reps. This is in Braamfontein. The World Cup in France, the last World Cup, I was watching a final with friends at the pub. Then after the final whistle, we have to celebrate. We're hiking with other people which we did not know. The next thing, when I checked my pocket, my phone was gone. I did not celebrate anymore. So I have to go home. My phone was taken. As we were hugging each other, they took my phone. So my party was over. I didn't celebrate that World Cup, really. Thank you, bye.
I really don't mean to be laughing, but I'm laughing at the fact that I feel you. The party's over. And because people were hugging you, who are you going to be celebrating with that could have stolen your phone? Because I'll be looking at everybody's hands like, did you take my phone while we were hugging? That is so painful. We go to Kay in Centurion. Kay, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Yes. In 2015, three of my friends, they went to Jameson Lake for a festival. So when they get there, there was some other group of boys, and then they were trying to rob them at the festival. So then now these three friends of mine, they tried to fight back. So then now this other guy, then they turn around and try to scream, said, no, these guys are robbing them. My friends, we are now robbing them. So the security came there and then now started hitting my friends. But luckily myself that day, I didn't go there. So they just called me later and said, hey, no, and then now this is what happened to us. We didn't really enjoy it, but we had to go through it.
No, but that's hectic.
Yeah.
And was anything ever recovered?
Yeah, apparently they didn't take the phone as they managed to fight back.
Yo?
Yeah.
Sure. No, Kane Centurion, that is a hectic one. And then getting beat up as well. Yo, on the WhatsApp line, one Sunday night, we left the pub to go home and discovered our car had been stolen. So we did the only thing we could do. We went back to the pub and carried on drinking. Us baby boomers are made from the right stuff. Karen. Oh, I love it for you. I think I need to take up that attitude, hey? Like the car's gone, it's a sign that you must just stick around and keep drinking. Hi, Relebogile. I was once also pickpocketed at Wonder Park Mall. I also left the groceries and went back home. I later came back with hubby at the shop. My trolley was still there. Everything was still there and he paid for the groceries. No, man. I was nar. Awa. I was nar that day. I was nar. I was not going back. More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. Back in the days when I was still grooving, I lost my phone. It was a J700. I don't know if you still remember J700. It was rose gold. I lost it at a joint in the Kloof called Meet. I lost my phone. Did I not get drunk? I was like, okay, manje sengiphuzela nje nokuthi I lost my phone. So yeah, whether you lose your phone or you lose your wallet, you are here. So you might as well party on, and then the rest of the things, we'll see them when we wake up tomorrow morning. Bye.
That J phone, baby. Oh, rose gold. It was that color. That is painful. Here's another voice note.
Hi, good day. Being out of George. I understand. I understand the lady who got robbed and her friends being continued because you know what happened to me. It was like we were also at this festival, but it was, this Rasta Safari festival. And I like to do these shows. I like to go to them. So I was robbed, but that time, there was a time when these dummy phones were in, these dummy phones, and I always carried 2 dummy phones. So my actual phone will not always be in the pocket on my chest, and the 2 dummy phones, one will be at the back pocket and the other one in the front pocket. So I didn't care. I enjoyed myself while I was robbed. I didn't care. They took the phone, ran away, and yeah, I always survived. Thanks, man.
How have I never heard of carrying a dummy phone with you? I've never heard of this before. I need to do this. So I'm assuming dummy phone is like a burner phone. It's like you go into Pep or Ackermans and get the cheapest phone possible. Is that what a dummy phone is? Or is a dummy phone like it just isn't working? I must go in my drawer of like old Blackberries and just carry that with me. I feel like they won't believe me. I think I might get hit if they're like, where's the real phone? Bakon Chaba. Another voice note.
Hi, afternoon team. So I was just thinking that maybe it's a star sign issue because me and my husband, we are both Gen X's, but we respond to such instances very differently. Like he is Cancer, I'm Leo. I would continue partying. He would freak out and need to get things sorted out, go to the police station and stuff like that, and I would just continue with my life.
Continue partying. Kanjani. Guys, please help me understand. I don't think it's a star. Maybe you are right that it's a star sign thing. Like, I'm also the type of person who would want to tell my insurance immediately, do the case number. But to keep grooving, I've never heard of that in my life. One person says, good day, this is my story. I was attending my friend's wedding on the 30th of August. And while we were there at the wedding, when people are singing, it's all mixed up. It's all fun. My wife and I were pointed at with a gun. The guy took us into his car to drive around with us, transfer money from our bank apps, and they took everything. Then they left us at the nearest garage next to the wedding. So it was that thing of, do we go to the wedding or to the police station? So we had to go to the police station. So the party was over for us. And remember, that was before we can even pay rent, before we can buy groceries, before we could do anything. As I speak to you, if I don't pay rent today, we are going to be evicted and there's no food in the house. The kids, I didn't even pay transport for them. They can't even go to school. So yeah, it was a proper party pooper and a life pooper for us. Because at this moment, we can't even go to work because we don't even have money for transport. And when things are like this, friends, everyone will tell you they don't have money. So yeah, that is a tricky one. I mean, I don't know. So we've had these conversations before with Wendy Nola, but I don't know what is supposed to happen. Your bank is supposed to have your backs covered, but I don't know who your bank is, what the circumstances are. Nkadimeng in Germiston, go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you? Yes.
You know what happened to me? The first time I lost my phone. This was, I think, it was around 94, 95 when the cell phones were first introduced in the country. We went to a bash by BOP, Brothers of Peace. And while we were there was a shooting. Someone died. And then the police, when they came, they started searching everyone. They demanded that everyone must lie on the ground. I had my phone in the pocket. Those big ones, Motorola.
Yes.
Yes. So when they found this thing in my pocket while I was lying down, they took it. Maybe they mistakenly thought it was a gun at first. But eventually when they took it out of my pocket, they could see it was a phone, but they still took it. And when I tried to explain that, no, this is the phone, guys, please don't take it. They murdered me. You won't believe. They kicked my face, they kicked my ribs. The next day I had to go to the doctor. So it was the police who stole from me.
Did you ever open a case?
Well, I did, but with the police.
So
at that time, there was still the Brixton and robbery squad.
Yes.
Those guys, they were untouchable.
So because this happened at a BOP bash, After they were done
Mhm.
searching, did you guys keep partying?
No,
It was chai.
no, everyone went home after that.
Yo.
But then, the second time and the third time, the second time I was at campus, it was at, what do they call it? 3110.
Yes.
They took it from my back pocket. We were going to Groove. It was at night time. We were still entering. They took that phone. It was gone. I went on partying. The second time, there was the best.
You're like, I'm not gonna cry.
You can't, you know?
Look, I'm gonna have to leave it there. Your last voice notes on 072702 and 702.
Oh, Relebogile, your topic it's touching because a couple of months ago, I bought myself one of these iPhone 16 and went to a Sundowns game called Loftus. The game was nice and all that. People kept asking me to take pictures with my phone. It was fine. And then game ended. As we were walking out, I see a Sundowns legend asking for a picture. Phone hiding. But at the same time, these friends of mine that are in a box in a suite, Kohonako Loftus, had asked me to come through for drinks. I went there. I think I only complained about my phone later on when I got home. Hey, Anonymous from Centurion. I don't want my friends to laugh at me.
Karabo, if you get robbed, is it chai?
Totally.
So the
I'll be sobbing,
funniest
I'll be crying, I'll be like in the car moaning.
So the one listener says that when they were 19,
Yeah.
they saw the car got stolen and just walked back to the bar and kept drinking.
Coming to think of it, I don't know what I'll do. If I'll probably also go to the bar
Yeah,
and just drown my sorrows.
Go back and keep. It's after 1:30. Time for your latest eyewitness news headlines. Good afternoon.
Relebogile, a very good afternoon. One of the 5 Gauteng crime prevention wardens injured during a shooting at Davidson and Ekurhuleni yesterday remains in a critical condition in hospital. The officers were attacked during a routine patrol search at the Davidson railway station just yesterday morning. Gauteng Premier Pangazile Sufi has visited the wardens in hospital today, where he condemned the attack. A suspect has been arrested for trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrates Court in Cape Town today. This arrest comes as Justice Deputy Minister Henri Snell visited the Athlone Magistrates Court where a shooting took place last Friday. In April, a man was shot and killed inside the same court building after 2 firearms were smuggled in by a suspect. And Rand Water has confirmed that its Aikenhof pump station is now operating at full capacity following a power outage that affected supply. Parts of Joburg have experienced reduced water pressure, while some residents in Randburg reported having no water at all. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Alexandra, there's an accident scene. This is on the N3 northbound near Marlborough Road, causing heavy delays all the way from Modderfontein Road. Also, slow-moving traffic heading into Bedford View. That's the R24 westbound between the Macro Store and Edenvale Road. If you're traveling in and out of the Joburg CBD, expect delays on Main Reef Road between Anderson and between Anderson and Production Road. Also, in the Devland area, there's roadwork still causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Traveling through Roodepoort, heading towards Leratong, slow-moving traffic on Randfontein Road. This is between Miles Stalker and Corlett Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
On the 20th and 21st of September, the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, brings you the flavor, the music, and the vibe. With international stars, South Africa's top performers, delicious food from local artisans, and fashion that turns heads. It is the ultimate heritage weekend experience. Gather your friends on Saturday and make it a family picnic on Sunday. Join interactive cooking demos, explore vibrant art, and celebrate 30 years of DSTV, bringing entertainment to Africa. One ticket gives you access to it all. Visit ticketmaster.co.za with more on deliciousfestival.com.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick and Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, ASA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. Catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman from 3 to 6 p.m. only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
702 Movies.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock, movies and what to stream time. And we are going to be joined today by the founder of Movies and Stuff, Adelaide Moyeng. But we take all of your recommendations on things to watch. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Adelaide, happy Monday. How are you doing?
Happy Monday. I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for asking.
Listen, I'm so excited to tell you I started binge watching something that everybody's been talking about. Finally, I can look at Twitter.
Yes.
Married at First Sight Mzansi. Yeah! Yeah!
I love
Ma'am.
this season is fire.
Yo. Yo.
It's competing with all the other international
So before
franchises.
before we even get there, I just want to say, guys, please catch up with us so we can skinner about this, because I don't want to put any spoilers. But Married at First Sight, South Africa, it's playing on Mzansi. It's playing on Mzansi Magic. You can see it on Catch Up. All I can say
It's amazing. It's amazing.
You know, that's all I can say. I can't wait to see the rest of the season unfold. But I wanted to show you, I've been watching stuff, okay? I'm trying to not just watch
so
kiddies content.
I'm so glad. And also, I think I wanted to talk about it, but I'm waiting for the finale. That way, at least everybody has watched it. And then maybe do a small debriefing of it. I think let's save it for that. I think that's something we should definitely do and look into.
down.
But yes, you are right. For those who don't know, it actually shows on Sundays on Mzansi Magic at 6 o'clock, but it is on Showmax after it's been broadcasted on Mzansi Magic. So literally after 6 o'clock, it will be on Showmax for those that have Showmax. Just a heads up.
All right, let's kick off with Task.
Task, okay. So people have been talking about Task, but it only dropped officially as of today on Showmax. The first episode is there. And it stars our local but international star, Thuso Mbetu, which I love. I love her. I love her work. I love the projects that she does. I love how diverse she is in her character choices as well. But this show, which is called Task, is an HBO crime mini drama series. It's from the creators of Mayor of Easttown, and it's essentially about an FBI agent who has to assemble a task force, hence the name Task, and it includes a couple of people that now have to essentially go into a town and rescue the town because there is a gang that has organized armed robberies, and so no family is safe in that town. And so now what's so funny about this, which, I mean, there are a lot of crime dramas, but what makes this a different type of drama is that this gang that's doing this is actually doing it for what you would think is a good cause if you were in their situation. Essentially, they're trying to feed their family because of what is happening in their town. So essentially, you don't really know who to side with. Do you want to side with the FBI that is helping the people that are the victims of the situation? Or do you want to side with this gang who have a really good purpose for what they're doing? I promise you have to watch it in order to find out why. So it's very difficult. And the gang leader is such a lovely family man. He's such a sweet, gang boss, which is just weird because, like I said, it's a very weird situation, but I think it's very good as a dynamic because it's so confusing. You don't know who to side with, and so I think it's something that we should definitely look forward to. It's also a very lovely stacked cast. It's got Emmy nominee Tom Pilfrey from Ozark. It's got Emily Jones from Coda. It's got Jamie McShane from Wednesday. It's got Alison Oliver from Saltburn. It is honestly a really, really good stacked show, and also it also has our star Tusombeti, who a lot of people will know from the Underground Railroad, and also some of the work that she's done for Castlevania. So I think it's something that we should definitely look forward to. Like I said, it's dropping today. The first episode is already up on Showmax. Definitely go and support and watch that.
All right, that sounds like one we definitely need to go for. Now we've got Billy Bob Thornton in something interesting.
Yes, so he's in a series called Landman, which I really didn't think that it would be this successful. I knew it was going to be a good series because the creators are people that have done other projects that are quite good. Like you said, it does star Billy Bob Thornton. It stars a bunch of people, actually. Demi Moore, who we all know from G.I. Jane or The Proposal. John Hamm from Mad Men. So it's actually a really good stocked cast. It came out last year. The first season came out last year, but it's done so well. It's actually been the most streamed globally in the first quarter of 2025. So it's actually a modern day tale about fortune seeking in West Texas oil fields. So essentially, this is probably the most realistic drama I think we could see that will actually show us the inner workings of oil companies. And so I think it's very cool that we're seeing this in real time because it's something that does happen in the real world as well. And apparently the acting and the depiction of what they are showing us is quite good in terms of, relating to what's happening in real time. The first season came out last year, but we are going to finally see it on Showmax. It's debuting on the 10th of September on Wednesday on Showmax. And season 2 is also coming out later in the year. They haven't really said when, but the season 2 is coming. It is official. And also the creators, because I forgot who they were, but actually they're the same people that gave us Yellowstone and Lioness and also Tulsa King. So definitely I think it's something that we should definitely look for. And it's been deemed one of the best dramas from 2024 as well in the list of dramas that were released last year. So definitely something we should look for.
All right. Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. I've already marked this one as something I definitely want to watch.
Same. So when I saw it come out, and also it's on Netflix, it's out already, but it came out this month. And so I thought, is it maybe one of those typical high school documentary series? But then I started looking into the actual case itself. So essentially, it's which something that Netflix has also cornered the market on. I really love when they go and look into these cyber crime documentaries. They've done a really good job at cornering that and always giving us like a first-hand POV of how all of this happened. And, they get really great, accurate stories from the victims themselves. But this particular documentary is actually about shame, man. 2 14-year-olds who are this lovey-dovey couple. They're high schoolers in high school doing what normal teenagers would do. They're in a relationship, and obviously social media and teenagers go hand in hand. Everybody in high school is online and on social media, but there's somebody who keeps harassing, and cyberbullying them. It starts with them, but it also trickles onto all the other students. But now the person that they think it is might not be the person that they think that is. And then when they find out who that individual is, it is the biggest shocker ever because it even turns into an actual real life case, a criminal case, where they try and find out who this person is, because now the threats and the harassments are just getting worse. And obviously, it's teenagers, it's children. So you're thinking this is quite dangerous. They have to find out who it is. So essentially, this entire drama is about that, and it is on Netflix, like you said. So I think it's definitely something that people should look out for. It's called The Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. Definitely watch it. Apparently, it's a shock. Like, the ending is, I can't even explain, and I don't want to spoil it. Definitely go and look out for that on Netflix.
All right. And finally, K-pop Demon Hunters. What is that even about?
It does sound like an AI-generated film, but I don't think it is. But for the people who've probably seen this be very popular on Netflix, it's quite strange because I thought, and I did my research, I thought K-pop Demon Hunters was a film for children. I thought it was an animation strictly made for children, but it isn't, and I'm so wrong for making that judgment. It is actually the most streamed film on Netflix at the moment, with 236 million views. It is the highest. It's even kicked out Wednesday in its ratings on the Netflix platform. And so the K-pop drama Hunters is actually a film about an all-female K-pop group who actually are secretly demon hunters. And so obviously they travel the world as a band and they sing all over, but they also hunt demons at the same time. So, they living their best life doing this, juggling multiple things, but there comes a rival K-pop group that is all boys, and they happen to be demons, and they are aiming to steal the souls of their fans. So now they have to try and, prevent that, but also not, have their identities be exposed at the same time. And some of the songs that are in there are also quite, catchy. Some of them have even debuted on the Billboard 100. So I was like, wait a minute, this show might actually be good. I watched the trailer and I was so wrong. I think it's going to be really good. I'm actually going to watch it tonight. I told myself I'm going to watch it. So for those that think that it's a kiddies film, it actually isn't. There's even an age restriction. You're not supposed to be 10 and under. So for those parents who would like to watch it with their kids, please make sure that their kids are of the appropriate age to watch it, as it obviously does have themes of like demons and hunting and all of that. But it is actually said to be really, really good. So I'm going to watch it, and I really hope everyone else does too. And it has a lot of really good actors as well. It's got Anu Strap from Business Proposal. For those people who are K-drama fans, he is such a lovely guy on that drama series as well. And even Lee Bong-hon from Squid Games is also voicing some of the characters in the film. So it's a really good film from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. Please give it a chance. What do you have to lose, guys? It's been watched 236 million times.
You just know the moment you mention demons, people need to pray before watching.
Yes,
I'm a demon.
I warned. I said, please, age restriction is
Age
there for a
restriction
reason.
is important.
Thank you.
Adelaide Moeng is founder of Movies and Stuff. Find her on the socials. And also just let us know what you guys have been watching. Linda says, Unknown Number. Good, but very disturbing. Sounds like my kind of film.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
5 suspects have been killed in a shootout with police in KwaZulu-Natal this morning. Police say the gun battle started when cops tried to arrest the group suspected of being involved in crime activities in Chatsworth, south of Durban. Police spokesperson Robert Nichawunda says officers opened fire during a confrontation between the gang and officers.
Our officers were looking for suspects who were terrorizing communities of Mpumalanga Township.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Whenever you hear deep in the heart and art of jazz, think Sia Makuzeni with the big band, Jasmine Horn, Alun Wad, The Baylor Project, Jose James sings Badu, Umusangare, Esperanza Spalding, Michelle Dugiocello, Elaine, Tezo, Munei, Mondli Ngobo, and many other spectacular icons. Think Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, 4 stages at the Sandton Convention Center, 26th, 27th, and 28th September, and take me there. Book via Ticketmaster.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat. which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by 30 September.
Oh, hello. Let's do a little word association. I'll say some phrases, you see how they make you feel. Retirement, credit card balance, another interest rate hike. Still calm? Well then, you've got the F Factor. It's that special something that comes from having a clear financial plan to manage and protect your finances. If you broke into a sweat, you probably don't have it yet. Visit livewithconfidence.co.za to up your F Factor. Sanlam. Live with confidence. T's and C's apply. Sanlam Life is a licensed life insurer and authorized FSP.
702.
Travel.
10 minutes to 2 o'clock. This travel feature is brought to you by Flight Center, your center for travel. And today we're joined by Igor Mutilska, founder of eagerjourneys.com, to chat to us about clever ways we can be getting some trips and travel within this mad economy we're in. Igor, happy Monday. How are you doing?
Happy Monday. Excellent, thanks. Very excited to talk about how we can save money. Life is getting so expensive.
Yep.
And I think it's really important. And the more we can save earlier on during the travel planning process, the longer we can stay and enjoy our trip, hopefully.
Definitely. So I know a big thing that helps with cost saving is the times to book certain flights and accommodation to get a better price.
Yes, timing is absolutely crucial. And, you know, these days, especially in the travel sector, we've got something called dynamic pricing, whereby prices are more expensive closer to the actual time of travel rather than waiting for like last minute deals. So I think it's really important to keep that in mind. And for domestic flights or international flights or your accommodation, regardless, you always want to try book as soon as possible. You should be looking a minimum of about 2 to 4 weeks in advance for domestic flights and at least 6 to 8 weeks ahead of departure for international flights. But of course, I would say that the ideal booking time for flights and accommodation is about 6 to 9 months ahead of time. I know that's always tricky and difficult. You don't quite know where you're going to be, but I think that's the sweet spot. And I would also say try look at booking midweek flights. They're generally cheaper if you fly on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday rather than over the weekend when, of course, people want to travel away for business or leisure or whatever it might be. And have a look at various price tracking tools where you can compare fares and get some really good deals. So I use Google Flights, Skyscanner, Hopper, or Kayak. And I would also say always try to book directly via the airline because it's so much easier if you need to upgrade or get additional baggage and so on. You won't pay any additional prices and costs like via a vendor, for example. So always try go direct if you can.
Okay, cool. Now, travel cards, are these something that makes sense? And there are different kinds of travel cards one can use.
Yes, certainly. I think this is something that I only got onto recently, and I really wish I had done it sooner. It really gives you the ability to buy currency when the rand is strong. And so essentially you lock in the exchange rate. And so that really protects you from like the weakening rand if you're out and about. It also protects you from recurring transaction fees because if you're using your card, not only are you paying for the actual transaction, but very often, you have the conversion fees, you also have the international transaction fees. And then of course the South African Reserve Banks, they have certain regulations in terms of how much foreign currency you can actually take out of the country. But I mean, for individual travel, that's not anything that anyone should be, concerned about. And even if you do have a travel card, it's important to, of course, notify your bank that you're going to be traveling internationally. You don't want it to be flagged for fraud or any kind of suspicious activity. And I would always say to take a backup card with you if possible, and also to get virtual cards. I love traveling with virtual cards that I can use on my phone. You've obviously got that added safety and security of the changing CV number at the back. And there are a number of different travel cards that you can get as a South African. Most South African banks offer them. You've got the FNB Global account, the Standard Bank Shift app and account. You've got the Nedbank Travel Card, and then also the ABSA Multi-Currency Cash Passport. And so essentially all of them work sort of as a multi-currency debit card or a prepaid card. They very often have both physical and virtual cards that you can use. And some of them you can load up to between 4 to 8 different currencies. And mostly some of the most popular ones that we use. So British pounds, American dollars, Australian dollars, and so on. And it's also a really helpful way to budget ahead of your trip so that you don't overspend. You know, sometimes with our credit cards, we sort of forget we're having an amazing, great time. Maybe we're having a cocktail or two and we forget about the exchange rate. So I think debit cards are really a really good way to go about doing that as well.
Okay, now we need to look at some of the hidden costs that maybe we don't take into consideration. What are some of those hidden costs, like baggage fees, data roaming? I mean, I made a mistake myself where I was flying Air France and they were lenient in South Africa with my hand luggage. Coming back, they were not playing. I had to buy a suitcase at the airport. And of course, the cheapest was like 250 euros. Like, yes. Oh my gosh. I was like, well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's something, that requires a little bit of pre-planning. In recent years, I have been trying to travel light, just with hand luggage. And if I have, for example, an Airbnb or an apartment or something that has a washing machine, I just, do my own laundry. And I've managed to save quite a bit of money there. Like sometimes on average, when you're pre-booking, you're saving thousands and thousands of rands. So it's a really good idea. But it's always important to try buy your luggage while you're actually in the booking process, because you pay much less than when you arrive at the airport and you kind of realize, oh gosh, I need another bag. So that's one way to get around it. I would also recommend getting a fabric luggage cover, not just to protect your bag and obviously to prevent, anyone who's opportunistic who might want to go searching for what you might have in your bag, but you can also save a lot of money in that way instead of getting the luggage wrap, which on average is about 120 rand for each flight these days. And obviously it's much more environmentally friendly as well. And then when we go to data roaming, obviously sometimes roaming charges from South African networks can be quite expensive. So I very often use a local SIM. I know that eSIMs have become really popular these days as well. So if your smartphone is compatible with that, it's a really good idea to do that. First, maybe check that your smartphone is compatible before you buy it. There's some really good options out there. I think I did quite a bit of research when I was in Europe recently, and the one that's the most popular is called Saily. That's Saily, and it's got a really easy to use and navigate app as well. So that's a great way to get around data roaming. And something else to keep in mind, which I think sometimes we forget about, is that many of these really popular, destinations have tourist taxes, and that's to help minimize over-tourism, or maybe it goes towards conservation fees, or perhaps employing a tourist police and so on. And then that can obviously add up quite a bit, especially if it's in foreign currency. It's usually charged daily. So I think that's always just important to keep in mind when you're budgeting.
Can I actually make a note, Iga? So when you are, I don't know which parts of Europe, but it's not like in Canada where you come with your receipts of things you spend money on and you get tax back. But in Europe, you have to go to every store and get them to sign a form for the things that you purchase. So that when you go back, I try to go and they're like, where are the forms? I'm like, what forms? Apparently you have to go everywhere you've bought stuff in euros. You get this form by the store that sold it to you. And then when you leave the country, you can actually get euros back.
Yes, definitely. So it's always important to get a tax invoice if possible. And then you'll see that they don't have counters. For example, in the UK, they no longer have a counter. You actually have to log on to a government website where you scan or take a photograph and you upload those receipts. And they, I assume, are using AI and so on to try get that back to you. So at least that really helps in that you don't have to get there hours ahead of time and stand in long queues and all of that. But it is very important to have like a tax invoice. So instead of just getting a receipt from the card machine, for example, it is important to have it where you have the visible name of the store, the address, the telephone number, the actual item, and so on. That's a really good point, absolutely. And then on the topic of budget, I think it's really important just to keep in mind, you know, how much you're spending. I use Expensify. It's an app that I can use on my desktop or on my phone. It's $5 each month. And what I do is I take a photograph of my receipts. What it does is scans all the information using AI. So it's got the merchant, the date, the time, the expense category. And what it does is that it creates like a report. So I can have a look and use the local currency, but it'll add it up for me in South African rands. And it's a great way to track all of that, but also then to be aware of how much you're spending, you know, and if you need to, for example, recoup any of those costs with tax deduction, not necessarily tax deductions, but when you want to, you know, leave the country and get that money back,
Yes.
It's really worthwhile.
So let's do this, Iga, because I know we still had some interesting content to include, like all-inclusive packages. Let's do a part 2 next week in our travel feature, because we all need those tips on how to save money. Now, set sail from this September with Flight Centre's cruise sail, from the sparkling Mediterranean to the tropical Caribbean, from timeless Europe to the magic of Asia. Your dream cruise awaits. Book between the 1st and the 30th of September and unlock incredible savings. Don't miss the boat, literally. Cruise into Flight Centre today. Visit flightcentre.co.za or your nearest Flight Centre store. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. One of the 5 Gauteng crime prevention wardens injured during a shooting at Davidton in Ekurhuleni yesterday remains in a critical condition in hospital. The officers were attacked during a routine patrol search at the Davidton railway station. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi visited the wardens in hospital today, where he condemned the attack. One of the wardens has now been discharged, while 3 others are in a stable condition. The Gauteng government has praised the wardens for their bravery during the incident. Thabiso Koba reports.
According to the Gauteng government, the wardens approached a suspicious-looking Avanza filled with individuals dressed entirely in black. As they approached, the occupants in the car pulled out automatic rifles and fired at the wardens. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi expressed gratitude. There were no fatalities.
I appreciate that they took a bullet on behalf of all of us, because you don't know 11 to 20 people carrying AK-47 where would have ended if they were not disturbed by these young men and women. I wish them a speedy recovery. Ask the team to compile us a full report just to check indeed that the necessary protocols were followed.
The shooting occurred near an informal settlement in Davidton, known for harboring illegal miners. However, the motive is still under investigation. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Alberton.
A suspect has been arrested for trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrates Court today in the Western Cape. His arrest comes as Deputy Justice Minister Henri Snell visited the Athlone Magistrates Court, where a shooting took place last week. In April this year, a man was shot and killed inside the same court building after 2 firearms were smuggled in by a suspect. 5 people are currently facing murder charges related to that attack. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Malfunctioning metal detectors at the Wynberg Magistrates Court was singled out as a contributor to security breaches inside that court building. Justice and Constitutional Development Deputy Minister Henri Snell says the situation has improved since.
We're also very happy to announce that at that same court, earlier today, our security officials using those metal detectors were able to detect successfully an attempt to smuggle a firearm into that court.
Nell also visited the Athlone Magistrates Court today, where a man was shot dead while entering the court building last week Friday. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Athlone.
Let's stay in the courts. Alleged underworld figure Vusimuzi Kat Matlala is back in the Alexandra Magistrates Court today, where his bail application is continuing. Matlala is accused of orchestrating a 2023 hit on his ex-girlfriend, actress Deboho Tobejane. The state is opposing his release on bail, flagging some discrepancies in his affidavit. Prosecutors have also told the court that Matlala has used a false Eswatini identity before under the surname Dlamini, which was linked to his old cell phone number.
Two aspects need to be highlighted here. The movement was on foot and there's no entry showing him to have returned to South Africa. This then raises the question, for what reason did the applicant visit Eswatini for only one night each time? This is again just another example of an aspect where the applicant is not playing open cards with this honourable court.
We shift our focus to this now. Rand Water has confirmed that its Aikenhof pump station is now operating at full capacity following a power outage which affected supply. Parts of the Johannesburg city experienced reduced water pressure, while some residents in Randburg reported having no water at all. Although the Aikenhof station is now pumping at full capacity, water supply is yet to be fully restored. Joburg Water spokesperson Nombuso Shabalala says the entity's systems are still in the recovery process.
Johannesburg Water has, however, noted improved inflows, but the system still remains constrained. Further improvements are anticipated between today and tomorrow as inflows continue to stabilize.
Shabalala says various systems are still affected.
The following Johannesburg Water systems are currently affected. The Commando system, which comprises of Crosby, Brixton and Hurst Hill, the Waterfall Tower, Qualerina Tower, the Crown Gardens Reservoir, Eagle's Nest Reservoir, and the Naturena Reservoir. Alternative water supply will continue to be arranged for all the affected areas.
And in Turkey, hundreds of police officers have blocked access to the main opposition party's Istanbul headquarters. It comes just days after a court ousted its leadership and appointed a replacement. Republican People's Party officials called the blockade a siege and rallied supporters around the building, defying a 3-day ban on demonstrations. 200 protesters, amongst them lawmakers, fanned out around the building, setting up barricades in that area. The Interior Ministry has warned that security forces will be acting to prevent any disorder. Gold is trading at $3,612.18 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.58 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.50 a barrel.
Leaving the Joburg CBD, there's still slow-moving traffic. This is on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road, also in the Midrand area, slow-moving traffic. This is on the N1 northbound between the Batlu Interchange and Allendale. Driving through the Kempton Park CBD, expect some delays on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, one of the 5 Gauteng crime prevention wardens injured during a shooting in Davidton Ekurhuleni yesterday remains in a critical condition in hospital.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And we're going to be jumping into some interesting conversations, and I really want to hear from all of you, and feel free to be anonymous. We're going to kick off with our parenting and parents feature, and we're going to talk about grandparenthood. What does that look like in this modern day world, considering we live further apart? Some people are immigrating. How do you bond virtually? How do you keep that role and relationship important in kids' lives? The naked scientist, Dr. Chris Smith, comes through to answer all of your science-related questions. So get in touch with us, give us a call, 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702, SMS us 31702, and tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons. And again, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
In our Parenting and Parents feature today, we're going to talk about grandparenthood. How do we reimagine it, or how do we even see what grandparenthood is in this day and age? We're going to be joined by Dr. Leta Selamulela Musima, who's a clinical psychologist, and she'll be guiding us in this conversation because it can be quite sensitive. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Doctor, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello, Relebogile. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank
you.
you.
And I'm also sending my greetings to all the listeners. Thank you so much.
Can we have a chat about the role of grandparents, why it is still so important? I feel just from the whole part of community, our communities are slowly breaking apart because lifestyles have changed, people move away, and maybe there are some grandparents who are still trying to figure out what is my role here, when before the dad was barely even a part of those first 3 months. Now, there are parenting classes and people understand bonding, and dads are fully there, and then grandparents are like, so what must happen?
Well, yeah, there's definitely a shifting of roles with regards to grandparents in these modern days. Obviously, in the past, traditionally grandparents were deeply involved in the family systems. They would often help raising children, pass cultural stories, build the grandchildren with regards to values, their traditions. They would, babysit, walk children to school or drive children to school. But then things are changing, and obviously when things are changing, the roles obviously change as well. And then many grandparents may now be facing, as you said, when you were posing the question initially, maybe facing a sense of loss of purpose, possibly at the first time, depending on how the family system is. But they may be facing a sense of loss, loss of purpose, because they can't be doing what they were doing practically before. Before, they would be physically present, but now, because of now, their children have migrated, maybe, relocated to another country. So now they cannot be physically present. They can only become emotionally present. The connection doesn't have to end. Even though people relocate, they don't have to become emotionally absent. They can still become emotionally present, because with healthy families that do not resist change, they can adapt.
And I think that's such a big thing that you're touching on, that families can adapt. And we know there's so many different types of blended families. You have single moms who are living with their parents still, and they still have that opportunity where maybe grandfather is the key male figure in the child's life. You have family which is extended, where siblings are even still living together with their kids, getting to spend time together, and grandparent is participating. And then you get situations where people are living in Gauteng with their kids, and the grandparents really get to see their kids once or twice a year.
Yes, that is a challenge that many families are faced with. And as I said, distance does not necessarily equal to loss of emotional connection. In fact, it should bring about opportunities, though we must acknowledge that even though that the people are very distant, they might be emotional challenges. However, the families should still become emotionally close. They shouldn't be that loss of where the grandparents now, they miss a lot of milestones with regards to their grandchildren. For instance, maybe a family is staying in Johannesburg, the grandparents are staying in Limpopo. The only time they get to see their grandchildren is in December. So with technology being present these days, it's not like in the olden days where people only used to communicate with letters. People can still call one another. You can still do some video calls. The communication should continue, because the minute there is no communication, so there will definitely be distance in terms of emotional connection, and because there's already physical distance, so there will definitely be emotional distance as well. So it is very, very, very important that families find new ways of staying connected, even though they stay far apart.
And I think it's important we also just emphasize that encouraging close relationships with grandparents is if the relationship is healthy and they are not problematic, be it your parents or your in-laws, but the grandparents in general. And Doctor, maybe you can just touch on the fact that, legally grandparents can go to court for access to grandchildren when circumstances change and things like that, so they can have visitation or whatever the case may be. But we also are fully aware that there are valid reasons why grandparents sometimes do get cut out of the lives of children.
Yes, most definitely. It is important for grandparents to remain important connection to their families, especially their grandchildren, because what we've seen in today's families or systems, we find that there are sort of like things that there's a cultural drift where children cannot longer learn the mother tongue, traditional songs, important rituals that families used to have. They sort of like become distinct, and it's getting lost in a way. So in terms of preserving those kind of things, grandparents play a very important role. And also teaching them, grandparents can sort of like become emotionally present and give their grandchildren the necessary emotional stability that they require, while the parents are sort of like becoming engaged on daily, work activities, attending meetings. You find that the grandparents are there emotionally for their grandchildren. So that emotional connection is very, very significant. They play a very important role. So sometimes families might see it as they are an interference in their children's, in their family system, where there's children, not necessarily the grandchildren, their children with their grandchildren. They might feel as if they're disturbing their system, but where boundaries are in place and there's love, the foundation is love, and they have boundaries, grandparents can play a very effective role in terms of assisting in raising the grandchildren.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with how we reimagine grandparenthood. Share with us all of your experiences as grandparents. Do you have access to them? Are you as involved as you would like to be involved? Or do you feel like you've been way too involved, where you're like, they keep leaving the kids here unannounced. I need space. I need a break. 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Escape the ordinary at De Hoek Country Hotel, Magaliesburg. a haven of tranquility and a 5-star masterpiece. Unparalleled luxury and the perfect getaway, just an hour from Joburg and Pretoria. Bring your team for an executive corporate breakaway. Plan an unforgettable wedding surrounded by breathtaking beauty. Indulge in exquisite fine dining and rejuvenate mind and body at our spa. Visit dehoek.com to discover your exclusive escape. De Hoek Country Hotel. Celebrate life where luxury meets serenity.
Tata Punch, take me there. To the ground clearance that lets you rise up to every adventure. Where your infotainment touchscreen connects to your next move. To the store lit by bold LED tail lamps. Whatever there is, wherever there is, let the all-new Tata Punch take you there. From only 244,900. T's and C's apply. Ta-ta-ta-ta.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, SA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Running a business is tough. You need tools that just work. That's why more South African businesses are switching to Mac. At iStore, we make it easy with 4,000 rands in added value when you switch. That's 3 years extended warranty and remote tech support, leaving you to focus on everything else. Switch to Mac with iStore, your expert partner. T's and C's apply. Mac at iStore. Run smooth as business should.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
20 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue with our Parenting and Parents feature as we talk about grandparenthood, what it looks like in this modern time, modern world that we are living in. And we're being guided in this conversation by Dr. Leda Selamulela Musima, a clinical psychologist. As we are speaking, my brother and his wife have gone on holiday, and my mom is being the grandparent at the house that is taking the kids to school and very involved, doctor. And I also get that option when I'm traveling, and my child's grandmother lives 10 minutes away. So I've set my life up proper because it also makes it easy. Granny has a car seat in her car. So at any moment she can pick him up and from school. Of course, she spoils him, all of those things. Granddad also spoils them. And I see the benefits having grown up as ngwana koko or ngwana nkgono. So, we do try our best to hold on to all of that. But I'm not going to lie, times have really changed. My mom literally would say to my sister-in-law and I that you guys are the mothers by Google, because we don't want to listen to them. We want to go online and check.
Oh, my God.
In terms then, doctor, just for the grandparents and parents who are struggling, because I'm already starting to see messages coming through, and maybe let's go to the voice notes so that we can just guide. You touched on something so critical, which is boundaries. And it's a very difficult thing, navigating boundaries, because sometimes you don't know you needed to say something until it happens. I've heard of people who are like, my child never visited my parents again after they came home with their hair shaved off. And sometimes you don't know you need to say, don't cut my child's hair. Because you just think, well, they would obviously ask, but they don't necessarily ask. But here's some of the voice notes, 072-702-1702.
Hi, Relebogile and the team. You know what? I actually fear that my future kids will not have a good relationship with their grandparent, being my mother, because I don't have a good relationship with my mom. So that concerns me quite a lot. And obviously the goal and the aim is to fix it, and I pray that it does get better. But I don't know how that structure will be, because I grew up with my grandparents, and I think every child should experience having, a relationship with their great parents.
Hi, really.
Your topic is very emotional. So I just want to ask the doctor. So my mom doesn't want my kid. I think maybe it's due to my partner. But my question is it possible to hate a baby
Mm.
because of the mother's actions? My story is that my son, the time he was born here in Gauteng, and then I took him to my mom, just for cultural thing for my mom to see him and stuff. Ever since that day, my mom never asked about the son, nothing. So my question is it possible for a grandmother to hate the grandson because of the mother's actions?
Yo, doctor, that's a heavy one because there are many circumstances where children are rejected by grandparents for things that have nothing to do with them. Let's say, for example, the son in the home, as in the son of the grandparents, is married and the family knows the wife and the kids, and then, dad has a child outside of the marriage. There's so many circumstances where children are rejected by grandparents. Can you kick off on that one?
Yes, as I initially said that, when you have healthy family system, it is often easier to resolve issues when the system has healthy ways of handling or managing conflict. So where the system has ineffective or dysfunctional way of handling conflict, that's where we find that in this case, the grandchildren may suffer. So I'm just going to discuss a few things that we can look at, but obviously if the conflict or the distance is very, very, very significant, I would advise whoever to seek for professional help. But in the case of any family system, boundaries, as I said earlier, are very important. Clarity of roles, when it comes to parents, there needs to be clarity of roles that will determine the boundaries, whether they will be healthy or not. And any change will, sometimes brings about discomfort. So when it comes to the grandparents, they need to realize that their child is no longer a child. The child is now an adult in another system. There's a subsystem. So they need to respect that. They need to realize that my child is now a grown up and having their own children. So, but then that has to be done in love, with a foundation of love. And they need to now realize that their grandparents, they are not necessarily parents to those children. And the children, the parents in this case, also need to involve and, take them along the process, not necessarily ignoring them, because that can also bring some form of discomfort. And what we're actually looking at is to have a healthy family system with clear boundaries, clarity of roles, reduced conflict, and also, sort of like setting expectations and ways of this is how we're going to do things, this is our routines, this is our rules, and also acknowledging the role of the grandparents. That most of the time, the intention is not necessarily to harm. The intention is to build and to have a healthy relationship. So if everybody can also understand the foundation that we are actually doing this from the foundation of love, and the intention is to build and help raise the children with the same, maybe even the same traditions that we raised you with, the same rules, the same, just to keep the family going. I think once there's a common understanding and realizing that there is change, both families can thrive.
We've got another voice note.
Hi, Relebogile and team. Interesting topic. I think the problem that we have right now, those that are 40 and below, our kids' grandparents are really not active. You have to really pull them out of their retirement to come and spend time with these children they asked for. So this is very encouraging to hear the doctor just encourage that grandparents must take up that role and participate. But yeah, bonkgono, they are running away. Relebogile.
Yo, I'm so surprised, doctor, because I actually feel like the current grandparents have like social lives now. Like they don't want to be at home making lidombolo. Like our grandmother, we regularly make fun of my mom and my aunt saying, "You grandparents are today useless. You have social lives. You want to be out, but you are telling us to have these children now busy."
Yeah. And also, it can be that, but it can also be the fact that with this technology, also Relebogile, you find that, with our grandchildren, with the grandchildren today, in this today area, era, the grandchildren are more technology based. They are always on their screens. They're always on their phones. And you might find that the grandmother or the grandfather is not familiar with screen, is not familiar with WhatsApp, is not familiar with the new ways of doing things. You take the grandchild to the grandmother, the grandchild is always locked up in the room. And the grandparents are faced now to deal with this difficulty of this screen time. They don't have the tools on how to navigate in terms of dealing with such difficulties that my grandchild is always in the room. They're always on their screen. How do I engage with my grandchild? You find that those are the issues that the grandparents are faced with.
Switch off the phones and go outside. That's always a good start. Switch off the phones and go outside. Doctor, thank you so much for talking to us about this. There's a message here that says, mine is different. My daughter says I'm dead to her and the children can't visit me. They call me and tell me how much they love me when she's traveling. And I think to go back to what you're saying, doctor, for some of these more complex issues, they require a proper consultation, and there are such things as family therapy sessions, and obviously that requires everybody to be open enough to participate. Another one saying, my parents are late and my ex's parents are inconsistent due to the dad being an absent father who pays maintenance as and when he feels like it, complicating the relationship with the grandparents. Grandparents also do demand the son to take care of his child and follow his lead in their role in the child. Very, very hurtful. Sometimes the grandparents are also just toxic. And I think that's where the counseling will need to come in. Doctor, thank you so, so much for your time. Time for latest Eyewitness News headlines. It's just after 2:30.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. The Gauteng government has praised the bravery of 5 injured crime prevention wardens who were attacked during a search operation in Davidton, Ekurhuleni. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says the team likely disrupted a criminal mission. The 5 were shot at during a routine patrol along the Davidton railway line yesterday morning. A suspect has been arrested for trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrates Court today. This arrest comes as Deputy Justice Minister Henri Snell visits the Athlone Magistrates Court, where a shooting took place last week. In April, a man was shot and killed inside the same court building after 2 firearms were smuggled in by a suspect. And Parliament's Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni-Diko has warned that the SABC is on the brink of collapse. She says the public broadcaster is in trouble due to outdated infrastructure, legislation, as well as an inadequate funding model. Diko was addressing an economic cluster portfolio media briefing in Parliament today. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage in the Devland area heading towards Aldo's, we still have roadworks slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway. That's between the N1 and Union Avenue. Also, leaving the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road between Production and Anderson. If you're traveling through the Braamfontein area, there's slow-moving traffic on Empire Road. That's approaching the M1. Slow-moving traffic still heading towards the Joburg CBD. That's driving through Houghton M1 South between Killarney Bends and Athol Oaklands. Also in Midrand, expect heavy delays on the N1 northbound. This is between the Bethlehem Interchange and Allendale. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
On the matters that matter to you.
This is Leanne from Pretoria. 702 is my companion on my drive to work and home from work every day. They keep me up to date with loads of important information on the news of the world, but also lots of other interesting facts. And I always arrive at work and saying, guess what I heard on the radio today? So I think my staff know me as, guess what I heard on the radio today, whenever I arrive at work, thanks to 702.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk. One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Could I courier this toy carrot that my son glued his baby teeth onto?
For sure. We're your guy. How about a strip of slightly used duct tape? Yeah, we're your guy.
And this spoiler for my quantum.
Chief, we're your guy. With over 4,000 fast and flexible ways of couriering your parcel, locally and internationally, whatever you need couriered, we're your guy. The Courier Guy. Visit thecourierguy.co.za.
Mzansi, the wait is finally over. The Great South African Sale is here. Explore more for less with up to 50% off travel deals. Surf the waves, hike the hills, enjoy Gasi, and explore the wild. Book from 8 to 14 September 2025. Visit shortleft.co.za to book now and travel later. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it. Because nothing's more fun than a short left. Hashtag TravelWise Mzansi. T's and C's apply.
Coming up
On 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. John, happy Monday. Are you well?
Yes, doing well, thanks. And you, happy Monday to you too, and good afternoon to all our listeners.
You have to let me know. Have you ever been robbed while being out having fun? And then did the party end, or did you just continue with what you're doing? I saw this young lady who was with a group of friends, and she got robbed, I think, of her phone. So they were recording a video of her, and you can see she's like actually quite miserable. And I'm like, there is nothing that would keep me partying. So all the listeners once said that when they were younger, that they were in a car accident and they left the driver to go continue partying. Another said they left the pub, realized their car was stolen, and then just walked back to the pub and kept drinking. For me, the party's pretty much over.
Yeah, I did get mugged once on the way to have dinner with friends. But I carried on there because there was nowhere else to go. So
I love how you're like, there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and it happened quite near their house, so I was on foot. So
it happens.
It happened.
It really, really happens. What's coming up on your show today?
So, good afternoon, everyone, again. So, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system is having a press conference today at 3, eagerly awaited. We want to know how they're going to get on with things. We'll talk to our reporter Oren Singh, who's covering that. Study done by the company Sweep South. They're involved in hiring out people to do domestic work. Their research shows that these are really bad times for domestic workers. Either they're losing jobs, or hours are being cut, or they're getting squeezed left, right, and center because the people who hire them are getting squeezed themselves. So we'll talk about that and try and understand a little bit better at 10 to 4. Terrible tragedy over the weekend. Boa van Niekerk, an attorney involved in business rescue practice, was murdered at his law profession in Johannesburg, or at his law offices, shall I say, in Johannesburg. Lots of fallout from that, and lots of people saying, you know what, people who have to do this kind of forensic investigation into the financial abuses of either companies in business rescue or other kinds of auditing processes, people are going to say, listen, we're just not going to do this. So the implications of that are pretty grave. We'll do that at 5:10. Interesting information coming up in Parliament as to what people who sit on the boards of water authorities, most people do not know what a water authority is or does. But if you sit on the board, you can earn quite a lot of money. Are we getting value for money in a sector that is desperately short of cash? We'll try and get some insight into that at around 4:20.
All right, that's 7:02 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m.
7:02.
The Naked Scientist.
Time for The Naked Scientist with Dr. Chris Smith. Get all of your science-related questions in on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 7021 702. Happy Monday, Dr. Chris. It was all about the blood moon over the weekend.
Ooh, well, I saw an eclipse yesterday, because as I was driving back, we had a very nice eclipse over my motorway as I was driving along, and my wife phoned me because she was in a different car on a different motorway, and she said, "Have you seen the eclipse?" And I said, "I thought it was a cloud."
Wow, the
and then
great
she said, no,
Dr.
that was an
Chris
eclipse. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know it was coming. But yes, we had a very nice sort of chunk out of the moon. That was, of course, an eclipse caused by the Earth casting a shadow over the moon. This is not the same as the kind of eclipse when the moon gets between us and the sun, which is a different kind of eclipse. But those are much less common. But it was very nice to see.
There were people who were saying they were having weird dreams from a scientific perspective, outside of what the many people say this means in energy world, spiritual worlds, and all of those things. What do we know scientifically for a fact happens during these phases of the moon?
Well, I don't know about eclipses specifically. I don't know to what extent that's been rigorously scientifically studied, but people have definitely looked at phases of the moon and sleep. And this turned out serendipitously and incidentally, actually, people found there was evidence of people showing sleep disruption in relation to the moon cycle. Now, the way they did this was a researcher had been doing sleep research on people. And this is where you bring people into a laboratory and you put them in very standardized conditions, very rigorously controlled. They're fed at a certain time, the lights go on and off at certain times, and you record things like brain activity, when people drop off to sleep, and various things like that, in order to try and understand more about the process of sleeping, the duration of sleeping in different people, and when people dream, etc. So they had all this data and all these records from years before, and someone just by chance said, why don't we marry up the moon cycle, because we know what the moon's doing because that's documented, with the sleep data. This is years later on other sleep data. So they didn't set out to look at this as a question. They just applied the moon cycle to the data retrospectively. And they found a really extraordinary thing, which is that people tended to drop off later, get less sleep overall, and have lower sleep quality during the full moon than at other stages of the moon cycle. So although the people weren't turning into werewolves, they were showing alterations in their behavior. Now, the researchers, this was a paper in Current Biology about 15 years ago, they didn't say exactly why this happened. They couldn't. This was retrospectively fitting a moon cycle to some sleep data. But all they were saying was, well, observationally, there does appear to be an effect. Is it because we are entrained because there's a bit more light around when there's a full moon, and so because our cycles are longer than just day to day, Is there some legacy of that? Is it that other things in the environment give us cues? For instance, when it's brighter, we know that birds sing for longer. That was a study out just a couple of weeks ago in the journal Science. They married up light pollution with birdsong, and birds stay up longer when there's more light around. If there's birdsong, there's more noise, there's more stimulus for us. All these things could be playing a role. So we don't know why people's sleep would change with the moon cycle, but it appears that it does. This does appear to have been a significant finding. There were several people in the study and they all showed similar sorts of traits. So it does appear to happen. We don't know exactly why it happens, and whether the eclipse has any special impact, I think that's probably doubtful, but the moon cycle appears that it does.
Oh, that is such an interesting one. Thank you so much for that, Doctor. And your questions are coming in on 072 702 and 702, or you can give us a call 011 883 0702. A question here says, what causes a sonic boom?
Right. Well, there's a thing called the sound barrier, which is the speed of sound, which is how fast a sound wave can travel in air. And when you go faster than that speed, you get this extremely loud report, which is called a sonic boom for a good reason. It does honestly sound like a bomb going off. And the reason it happens is as follows. When something is producing sound waves, if those sound waves are produced and try to make the air move faster than it can get out of the way, in other words, propagate a sound wave, the sound waves all catch up with each other and they all arrive at the same point in time at the same time, and as a result of adding together, you produce one very big sound wave, which is the boom effect. So if you've got some sound waves from, say, a distant aircraft coming towards you, you can hear the aircraft approaching because the sound waves are coming at the speed that sound approaches through the air. When the thing is travelling faster than the speed of sound, those sound waves now cannot get out of the way fast enough for the sound waves to propagate away from the thing that's making the sound. So as a result, they all add together, and the sound that reaches you is a very big displacement because, remember, sound waves are a compression wave, air molecules bashing into each other, the one behind bashing into the one in front. So if they all crowd together and pile up, it's like a multi-car pile-up. You have a huge, great wave. That's a big amplitude, and that's very loud, and that's your sonic boom.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with your science-related questions. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Prostate cancer is the most common cancer affecting South African men. Many men don't realize there are usually no symptoms of prostate cancer in the early stages. That's why we at the Prostate Cancer Foundation are asking you to help us raise awareness about prostate cancer during September by suiting up for just one day. To find out more about prostate cancer and to purchase your Suit Up September badge for only 50 Rand, go to prostatecancerfoundation.coza.
AV Josie 2025 is back, where creativity and technology meet. Join us at Summer Place in Hyde Park, Johannesburg, from the 13th to the 14th of September for cutting-edge masterclasses, workshops, live demos in film, animation, VFX, AI, gaming, and interactive tech. And you have to head over to primemediaplus.com to hear the conversation that I have with the team about why it's so important to head over there. This year's theme, Heart of Steel, celebrates bold creators striving in the age of AI and disruption. Expect local and international experts to share their knowledge in workshops, tech showcases, game jams, portfolio reviews, and interactive sessions. And it's completely free. Just make sure you register now at avjosie, avijosie.com.
When you're smiling, wear your favorite socks to school or work on the 19th of September, and your 20 Rand donation will help spread smiles to all children around South Africa. The sun comes shining through. Buy your Socks for Smiles sticker today and make a world of difference. Smile Foundation.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited. a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702.
The Naked Scientist.
12 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with the Naked Scientist. Get all your science-related questions in. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Hi, Dr. Chris. What causes sleep paralysis? Why is it that I get bad dreams when I sleep with my head facing upright towards the ceiling, but I don't when it's tilted to the side?
Well, first of all, there is a claim that posture does affect sleep quality. Certainly, if you're not comfortable when you go to sleep, you might have less restful sleep because you're continuously rearranging yourself in order to get comfortable. And you might not be aware that you're waking up, but you might be partially waking up, and that can disturb the normal process of sleep. As to whether posture really influences the process, progress, or content of dreams, I think that is less robust. I don't think we've got really good evidence that that is the case. So it might be that if you go to bed with the expectation you're going to sleep well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you feel calmer and you settle. Whereas if you go to bed thinking, oh, I'm in for a bit of a night here, and you lie in a certain position, it might be that because you're stressed when you drop off because you're expecting to not sleep very well, unsurprisingly, you don't sleep very well. Now, sleep paralysis, again, fairly well undocumented, this one, because it's a very subjective report that people give, but people have studied it. And what tends to happen is that a person will wake up or claim to be woken up and be fully conscious and aware of what's going on, but aware also that they cannot move. And they are literally glued to the spot. And it can be extremely frightening because you think you've woken up and you've lost the ability to move your body. You're literally rooted to the spot. So why does this happen? And thankfully, it is only temporary. People generally find that a very short space of time later, they're then able to move again. And it might be that the amount of time they spend not being able to move is actually a tiny, tiny point in time. But because of the way our brain works and processes time, and the distortion caused by being half awake and half asleep, it may mean that it feels like it goes on for a lot longer than it does. But what we think is going on is when you go to sleep, your body is suppressed or paralyzed by your brain to stop you from acting out your dreams. There's a region in the brain stem that connects the spinal cord to the top part of your brain that seems to be really important in knowing when we are asleep, and also knowing when we might make movements when we're asleep. And it seems to send suppressive signals gating the flow of motor information, in other words, movement instructions from the brain's motor centers down towards the spinal cord, where they can then be sent to muscles. So when you go to sleep, and specifically when you start dreaming, your brain switches off these movements. Obviously, it leaves some movements active because otherwise you wouldn't be able to roll over and rearrange yourself in bed and you wouldn't be able to breathe, for example. But in order to stop you sleepwalking and potentially doing yourself harm, you turn off these movements. And the evidence that this happens is that people have done experiments in cats, for example, where they have turned off a region of the brainstem by inactivating it called the subcerulear region. When you deactivate that brain area, these cats prance about and stalk imaginary prey, suggesting that they are acting out their dreams, and that this region that's been switched off in these animals appears to be important in stopping that from happening. So we think that sleep paralysis is where this region temporarily doesn't ungate your motor information when you wake up, as it should, and leaves things locked out for a little bit longer. So as a result, you think, I'm awake now and I want to move, and I can't. And then it kicks back in again and you're normal. And perhaps because, as I say, of time distortion, you think that lasts a lot longer than it does, and it's only a fraction of a second. But it certainly is very real in terms of what you experience, and some people find it absolutely terrifying.
You have such a panicky sensation where you are telling yourself to move and it's just not registering. It's such a bizarre experience. But thank you so much for that. More of your questions coming through. We've got a voice note on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, Rebel and your guest. Yes, I saw the eclipse as well. I was standing outside in Lenasia, and then I saw the moon that was red. I was so fascinated because it's the first time in my whole life that I've seen it. I'm 68 years old, and I just couldn't understand the wonders, the creation of God, and I don't know. I would say it's the biggest miracle. How does the moon turn red? I mean. We're so used to seeing, I would say the moon is blue. I don't know what color the moon really is. And when we were small, they said there's a man in the moon as well. But please, I'd love to ask the scientists, what makes that moon get so blood red? And how long does it last for? Yes, and thanks for the great show as always. Joy from Lenasia.
And before you answer, Doc, another one around the moon.
How's it, Dr. Kirsten Lebu? Why, speaking about the moon, why did it appear red to us? And to some people around the world, it didn't appear that color. And while we're on it, what is a blue moon?
Oh, Doctor, you've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, a blue moon is the amount of time it takes one of my kids to buy me a drink at the pub. Yeah. Why would the moon appear red? Well, it's the same reason, actually. The sunshine appears red on the horizon. And the sun isn't red. The sun is a white colour because when it climbs higher up in the sky, just as the moon looks white in the sky, you see white sun. So why is it red on the horizon and white overhead? What distinguishes those two situations is the amount of atmosphere that the light is coming through. So when the Earth is seeing the sun early in the morning or last thing at night, the sun, being as it's on the horizon, is sending its light through a much greater amount of the Earth's atmosphere than when it's directly overhead. This is why you're more likely to get sunburnt at midday than you are at 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun's still visible, but the light feels a lot less strong. Why? Because the atmosphere is filtering out some of the light. So what light's it filtering out? Well, if the sun looks redder, you can probably imagine it's filtering out more of the energetic shorter wavelengths and leaving more of the longer wavelengths behind. The long wavelengths are less refracted by the Earth's atmosphere than the longer wavelengths are. So as a result, the red makes it through, but the blue doesn't. And as a result, the sun looks red, because if you take white light, the light that's coming from the sun, and remove the shorter wavelengths at the blue end of the spectrum, white minus blue goes reddy orange. So when the sun does that, that's why you see red sunsets and sunrises. And when the moon is low on the horizon, it's reflecting light from its surface from the sun, which is white, and the moon's surface is dusty and white. So it's reflecting white light to you. And when it comes through a lot of the Earth's atmosphere, more of that light on the horizon gets refracted and scattered, and therefore you see a redder moon than when the moon is directly overhead and it looks white again.
Yo, okay, that is a good explanation. So that term blood moon, I'm assuming obviously just comes from the side of it being red, but for everybody else who's not seeing it that way could never refer to it as blood moon.
Yeah, it's the colour connotation that it gives it its name. And so when you see the moon low on the horizon, it is more likely to look an orangey colour, and it will be exaggerated, this effect, when there's a lot of gas and dust and pollution in the atmosphere, because those particles have a stronger scattering effect on the light that's coming through, and they'll scatter more of the blue light and leave more of the red light behind. So that's why you see an orangey red moon when you have high pollution or very smoky days as well. And the sun does the same thing. The sun will look yellower and redder more when you've got more pollution or dust, especially around harvest time, for example, when farmers are harvesting lots of crops, they make lots of dust, and this will exaggerate this effect.
I have to read this. Wow, Relebogile, boy, oh boy, am I not glad that I'm not the only one who looked at the moon last night and thought it was a cloud covering the moon. I've just been exonerated. My son said I'm either getting old or my eyes are totally bad.
No, I was driving and I didn't give it much thought. I just thought, oh, there's a bit of a notch out of the moon. Must be a cloud, and carried on. And it was only later, oh, I just missed an eclipse. Well, I didn't miss it. I just totally dismissed an eclipse. There you go.
You're an eclipse denialist.
There you go.
Dr. Chris Smith, back together next week. And to that person who messaged you didn't sign it, Go and tell them even Dr. Chris, so you are exonerated.
It all starts with FNB Private. Diversify your portfolio to grow your wealth. Gain global exposure through shares or unit trusts on the FNB app. Tap into international investments and tax-efficient offshore trusts to build your legacy. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSB and credit provider. FNB International Trustees, FNB IT registration number 3080. Licensed by the Guernsey Financial Services Commission to conduct fiduciary business. T's and C's apply.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mendi. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
The BCCSA is calling for nominations. Do you know someone with broadcasting expertise? Nominate them to serve as a commissioner for a 4-year term starting 1 January 2026. Send a short CV and motivation to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. Nominations close 19 September 2025. Visit www.bccsa.co.za for more info.
Relebogile is on X at Relebogile M.
Thank you so much for joining us on 702 Afternoons. Our email address, if you ever want to get in touch with the show when we're not on air, 702afternoons@702.co.za. And don't forget to tune in from 6 a.m. Tomorrow, we're going to be announcing the winners of Gauteng's Greatest. Who is going to be announced? It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
MPs warn that the SABC is on the brink of collapse, and injured crime prevention wardens praised for their bravery. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Parliament's Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni-Diko has warned that the SABC is on the brink of collapse. She says the public broadcaster is in trouble because of outdated infrastructure, legislation as well as inadequate funding models. Diko was addressing an economic cluster because of outdated infrastructure, legislation as well as inadequate funding models. Diko was addressing an economic cluster portfolio media briefing in Parliament today. Babalondenze has more.
The economics cluster briefing by the committee chairpersons from Transport and Communications was titled Opening New Economic Opportunities. But Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni-Diko says the ICT sector is functioning under outdated legislation and requires a new approach. She says the SABC is one such entity that faces a complete collapse as a result.
On the SABC is at a risk of collapse. It's burdened by unsustainable debt, outdated infrastructure, and a broken funding model. When we spoke about the SABC, and we said, amongst others, the withdrawing of the SABC bill is sounding a death knell on the institution, we were told we were being alarmist.
Sangoni-Diko says the SABC bill is still stalling in Parliament and has called for the urgent processing of the bill to address the SABC's financial and operational challenges. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.